Welcome back to the Prosperity with Purpose podcast. I am Jessica Heffley. So glad you are here. So glad you're back. We are talking about directly something the Lord told me to talk to you guys about. Okay, so this amazed me. Last week, I was on the Plexus Rising Leaders Retreat cruise, and there's like 3,000 people on the boat. We had the entire ship. But what amazed me is how many of you listeners came up to me, many whom I have never met before, never seen before, never met before. We would either meet in an elevator or in passing or at a party or in a line, and you would say, "Thank you for doing this podcast. Thank you for the podcast. Thank you for being obedient. Thank you for putting it out there. It has helped me so much." And yeah, I want you to know how important that is to me, like to hear that. Because sometimes you're doing this, you're like, is anybody listening? Does anybody care? Is this making any difference? I don't know. Like, and this is an investment of time. Like, I pay to have somebody edit this. I pay to have somebody upload it. I pay to have somebody post it on social media. Like, there's a lot. It's an investment of time and money to put this out there. And I just was so humbled that so many came up to me and said that they were receiving so much value from this podcast. So it was like this huge reminder to me, not a weight, because nothing has to be weighty with the Lord, but I just was bringing him before this. Like it just increased, I don't know, my awareness of the influence of this podcast, or just the importance of it, or how it genuinely is helping and breaking things off of people. So I have been going on, so just went on Silent Walk day 2. If you listened to last week's episode, or just recorded it like a couple hours ago. And I was talking about the silent walks that I'm committing to taking. And I have just been like, Lord, what do you want me to teach these people? Like, what do you want me to talk about? What what do you want? And I was in the kitchen afterwards and he just said this. And I'm like, I get out my phone out immediately. And he was like, help increase their capacity to receive. And I knew exactly what that meant. You may not know what that means yet, but he was saying help increase their capacity to receive. Now, this is a culmination of some conversations I had on the cruise and some other things going on in my life. Like I'm on the walk and I'm like, okay, Lord, you had said increase our capacity to receive. How do I do that? Because I feel like I live that. I feel like I am embodying that. I feel like I have still so much more to grow in that, because it's an ever expansive place to live, right? It's prosperity in all areas of life. It's prosperity with purpose. And so I feel like these last couple of years since I got my certification, my Christian life coach certification, what the Lord has been teaching me and showing me, like it's increasing my capacity to receive from Him, receive love, receive joy, receive more peace, receive physical blessings, receive income, receive connections, like increasing my capacity to receive. So many people are so focused on what they have to lose instead of what they have to gain. Psalms 23, surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. And so you recovering perfectionist had a conversation with a friend on the cruise, and I was like, literally got my phone out, I was taking notes, because I'm like, you are exactly how I used to be years ago. Like I understand where you are, and I understand you can get to where I am. Like it is such a place. And so I've just been like truly seeking the Lord, like, how do I help these people? How do I help them get from A to B? And first of all, he was like, apart from me, you can do nothing. So it has to be with him. And I'm on the walk and I'm like, okay, Lord, like, but how do I teach them this? And he was like, this is how you teach them this. You teach them to go on a walk. You teach them to spend time with me. You teach them to increase their capacity, because they are increasing their relationship with me and their love for me. And I was like, okay, Lord, but like I've gone on lots of walks with you. Like I need them to get this today. And he was like, teach them to go on a walk. So it is a beautiful process, but on the walk, like I still was like, okay, yes, so they need to slow down. I do feel like I'm teaching them that. I do feel like I'm conveying the importance of that. I do feel like we've been talking about the pause app. Now, all of these things will help increase their capacity. And then he kind of downloaded 2 different words, and it was repent and enjoy. So let's untangle those for a second. Okay, so well, actually, before I go to that, let me mark this down so I don't forget. Back to increasing your capacity to receive. How this kind of all started is I was noticing in many, especially perfectionists, but you'll notice that many people will either be all in or all out, whether that's in their business, their exercise, their health, their relationships, their diet, their food choices, like all these things. They're like all in, or they'll say things like, I can do this for 2 months, I can go all in, and then they crash and burn. And instead of like being consistent or still doing a little bit, they just burn, they just don't do anything. And it's almost like paralyzing because their belief in their identity, um that's what makes them go all in or all out. If they're like, well, I have to do this in order to succeed, or I'm a complete loser. And so you will live into the story you tell yourself. Okay? I want you to notice, okay, the people who are exercising consistently, let's take this as an example. Those people do not have a core identity as I am fat and lazy and unimportant. They don't. Their identity is I am a person of health. This is important to me. Being healthy is who I am and how I lead. That is the identity that they work out of. So I think a lot of this goes back to identity. Okay. If you believe, and let's talk about daughtership for a minute. Rob has done so good at this. So he's been going to this thing called Man Alive for years and years and years. Highly encourage you get your husbands to go. It's twice a year. It's this retreat. It's based on John Eldridge's book, Wild at Heart. I've talked about it multiple times on the podcast. There's a great group of men in Central Arkansas that just kind of put this on. It's all volunteer led. They teach you these principles of sonship, how to actually be a son, they say, not a bastard. You're not, you are a son of God. Okay. What does that look like I've never been to one of these retreats. I'm just like summarizing the concept of this. Like there is a difference when you live as an orphan or you live as a son. Okay. An orphan doesn't know who their parents are or doesn't have a good relationship with their parents, or they're estranged from their parents, or they don't have they don't get to receive everything that their parents have. Now a son or a prince, let's do a prince of a king, like a son, everything their father has is theirs. They have the capacity, like a tangible story. My daughter, she now likes to wear my clothes. Okay. So, like, she's only 9, but she goes in my closet and she finds something she wants to wear. And she comes and asks me if I can wear it. And I say yes, because she's not my sister when we were teenagers and we fought over clothes. I'm not going to say no just to be mean. Yes, she can wear my clothes. Like, it's what's mine is yours and yours is mine. Like, she's my daughter. She doesn't have to beg for food. If she makes a mistake, I don't throw her out in the streets. Like, she's my daughter. Like, there's a different connection. When you understand this difference between orphanship or sonship and daughtership, you understand what your identity is. And the Lord is the giver of good things. And it is time for us to understand all good things come from him. And he is overflowing. We have ceiling to him, or what we think that we should receive, or, oh, no, that's enough, or I could never make that much money, or I could never make more than that much money, or I could never go to Hawaii on a free trip. I kid you not. I know someone who was gifted on a Plexus trip a trip to Hawaii, free plane tickets, free very nice 5-star resort, free rental car to explore the island, free parties, and all they could think about, what came to their mind is, but I'm going to have to spend like $20 on a cheeseburger at the hotel. I was speechless. I was angry, if I'm being honest, because they couldn't see everything they had to. They were getting everything to receive. They couldn't receive the gift of a free flight, a free resort, a free rental car, free parties, free experience with loved ones. They couldn't see that. All they could see was, oh, yeah, well, that one day there's not a free food at the party. I'm gonna have to spend $20 on a cheeseburger. Okay, well, stay home then. Okay, this is what happens to people, and you're not even aware that it's happening. They're unconsciously staying home because they'd rather not spend $20 on a cheeseburger. So they're subconsciously not receiving all the other extravagant gifts in their life because they're focused on one little area where they have to give. This is where I've talked about multiple times when it comes to like investing in coaching or investing in the future person you want to be, spending actual money doing that, like letting that multiply. People are like, I don't know, that's expensive, or I'm gonna have to spend money on that. I'm like, what if you stopped thinking about what you spent, but started to focus and receive exponentially what would be multiplied in your business? Like I have multiple business coaches. Rob the other day was following this guy on Instagram, and he was talking about how in his business, he only hires A+ talent. Yes, they cost more. And yeah, and then somebody who's like like C- talent, like sometimes when we're looking to hire people to expand or grow in our business, we're like, I just don't want to spend that much money. And so let's just get somebody who can do the job, or I can teach them how to do the job. And, and he was saying the difference between when you hire A+ hires, okay, yes, they are going to cost more, but they are going to exponentially grow your business like tenfold more than this other person who's just going to keep you where you're at. Okay, you're going to pay less, but your business is going to stay less. Or you can pay more and your business is going to exponentially grow above and beyond you could ever imagine. And every single penny that you invested in the better hire was worth it because you made money on that. When you invest in yourself, which I believe is good, as the Bible says, is good soil, you are good soil. When you invest in you, that multiplies in the ripple effect of bringing heaven to earth. Because when you increase your capacity to receive, you increase your capacity to lead, you increase your capacity, that in turn gives you more peace to be able to handle more. Some people are like, how do you do it? How do you handle it all? Like, you have 3 businesses. Your husband owns the Graybeard Ammo, the gun business, and the trailer business, and you've got multiple Plexus businesses, and you guys have children, and you're involved. You lead life here, but I'm like, because that's why I go on silent walks. This is not optional. Just last week at the cruise, I was talking to another leader, and she was just kind of navigating for the first time being at a trip where she had multiple people on her team there, multiple dynamics, multiple people. And she was kind of just like taking a minute to cry. And I'm like, yes, girl. Actually, when I go by myself for a little bit to go lay in the sun, even though I have hundreds of teammates on that cruise, it's not because I'm rude. It's not because I'm selfish. I go and be by myself for a little bit to increase my capacity to love and serve and be fully present when I am with my team. Okay, so this concept of like all in, let's go back there to all in or all out. Okay, that is coming from an identity that you have somehow distortedly come up with, that you have to be perfect and you have to only do all the things perfectly or do nothing. Okay, and where has that gotten you? Where has that gotten you? What if you started to live into an identity that I'm bringing heaven to earth? I am an imperfect human with a perfect God on my team, and I'm going to keep putting one foot in front of the other. Okay? There is there's this, oh, I wish I had this graphic for you. It shows um just one, well, anyways, there's a book called Slide Edge, and it talks about if you just improve 1% each day. 1%. Again, we're trying to go all in, improve by 100% in a day, and then you're going to crash and stop. But if you just keep improving 1% each day, even some days you don't improve at all. But then the next day, his mercies are new every morning, and then you improve 1% and 1%. Do you know how drastically different your life can be in just a year. And if you listen to last week's episode and you're going to live to be 94 or older, you got tons of life to live. And so just the 1%, now where does that come from? Because our old lie of having to be all in or I can't do anything is absolutely a lie from the enemy. Okay? Let's just pause for this for a second. Let's be realistic. Who actually is able to be all in every single day, do everything perfect every day for the rest of their life? Who's able to do that? No one. Spoiler alert, no one. Oh, okay, hold on. Okay, I had to go grab my phone because this quote came up the other day and I stopped and I wrote it down because I'm like, I'm gonna have to share this with somebody. And now I just remembered right now is the time to share it. Okay, here's this quote. And Logan, you make this into a graphic because we're gonna put it all over social media. Perfection is the lowest standard you can possibly set for yourself because it is impossible to attain. Let me say that again. Perfection is the lowest standard you can possibly set for yourself because it is impossible to attain. Woo! Right? Okay, all these times we kept thinking, no, perfection is our goal, perfection is our aim, perfection is what we're working towards. You are shooting yourself in the foot. That actually is the lowest standard you can set for yourself because it's impossible. You could never do it. It is I said impossible. It is impossible. So right now, I am inviting you to break free from perfection. It's a literal impossible standard, but I am inviting you into consistency. I am inviting you to identify with who God says that you are. And God says, goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life. I have a huge verse I was over by my drink station in the house where I have my Plexus drinks and there's a coffee station. I don't drink coffee, but if you come visit me, there's coffee at the coffee station. And it's Psalms 91. But what I love about Psalms 91, it's one of my most favorite verses. I literally have a tattoo, a feather on my ankle. But the beginning of that verse says, those who dwell in the shelter of the Most High. Okay. The word dwell. What does dwell mean? It means, I literally looked it up, it means to live in or stay at a specific place. Dwell. Dwell is not a do perfection word. It is a state of being when you dwell with the Lord. Okay, when you dwell with him, when you spend, then you are sheltered by the shadow of his wings. Okay, it's a covering that comes over you, your life, your business, your relationships. It is a blessing that you literally come under. If you're watching me on YouTube, or you can make this into a little Instagram short, you are under the covering when you dwell where the Almighty is. So, as I have been increasing my capacity to receive in my health, my physical health, this is like a tangible thing that in my real life right now. I just had a breakthrough the other day. Okay, so you guys have heard my journey of like working out, lifting my arms. It's in past episodes, and like I've always wanted buff arms and all those things, and I've never focused on my legs. I've got chicken legs, y'all. I don't like them, but it always felt like overwhelming to focus on my arms and my legs. So I'm now learning like how important, especially in this age, the perimenopause age, like lifting heavy weights is important. And your legs are actually one of the largest muscles in your entire body. And so now I've just powerfully decided that I'm going to lift weights again, my upper body and my lower body, but really my lower body, because that will help my hormones, that will help provide strength, bone density, that will help me live a longer, healthier life. Okay, so I'm no longer doing it for like the short term, um, what's the word? Vain goal, which I guess there's nothing wrong with vain, like wanting to look good or wanting to have nice arms or nice legs. Okay, but I think that's like money goals. Like I want this amount of money. I think that will motivate you for so long, and then it has to be deeper. And so, yes, I would love nice legs, muscular legs, but my real goal is I am a healthy person. That's the identity that I identify with. That's who I want to live into. That's the story I'm telling myself, that I'm a healthy person. And healthy people exercise. Healthy people make healthy food choices. Healthy people don't never eat cake, but what healthy people eat smaller pieces of cake, and there's less frequency in the amount of times they eat cake. Okay, do you see what I'm saying? Because the goodness and mercy, cake is in the goodness and mercy. Okay, but as I identify my identity as a person of health. Okay, I work for a supplement company, but I also the best one out there, Plexus Worldwide. But I am a leader. Like, leaders are healthy. Leaders are making conscious choices to improve in who they are, not perfection, not 7 days a week, not but I'm consistently. What if whatever exercise routine you had started in the past and that you already have quit, because everybody's done that before, by the way. You're not unique in that. So stop thinking you're so special because you're the only one who's ever quit something, or you're the only one who's ever failed, or you're the only one who's ever stopped. How about that? How about we normalize that has happened to everyone? Okay, but his mercies are new every morning, and you get up and you do it again. And you don't do it from a place of shame or a place of hate. That will never motivate you long term. Shame and hate. Okay, let's go back to your business. Okay, if you keep trying to shame yourself into doing better in your business or going further in your business, if you keep trying to, I hate this, I'm going to force myself to do this, that's not going to get you far. Peace, joy, and love. The greatest of these is love. Let's go back to our first love. Maybe in your business, you need to remember why you loved it in the first place. You need to go spend a whole entire day watching testimonies, seeing the life-changing real stories of how what you do matters. You need to be reminded of why you do what you do, how you serve people, how you help them. Be reminded of that, because as the leader that you are, as a person of purpose who lives on purpose, this is about prosperity with purpose. Your identity is everything. Your identity, who you are, and what God has called you to do in this world is everything. When you decide that, when you know that, you are unstoppable. When you know who you are in Christ and what you have been called to do, you will be motivated, because you will be operating from a place of purpose and a place of love. Okay, so whew, this is fun to get off on these tangents that completely weren't in my notes. Okay, let me give you some tangible things this week to do back to increasing your capacity to receive. Okay, receive blessing, receive goodness, receive expansion in your business, receive more income, receive free trips, receive what all the Lord has for you. When He is like, what if He's like dropping these gifts all the time, and we're over here just like, instead of like waiting to receive, we're waiting for the next horrible thing to happen. We're waiting for the next expense to come up. We're waiting for the next shoe to hit the fan, shiz to hit the fan, whatever. What if you were waiting for the next gift to drop? How different and how expectant would your life be? Okay, so here's a couple tangible things. Number one, money. Okay, if we're going to increase our capacity to receive, we need to increase this muscle of increasing our capacity to receive with money. Okay, I want you to have money just sitting there. I want you to practice having money. Okay, not just making more money or not just spending more money. I need you to practice the discipline of having money, having it sit there, like being a person that has this much money in the bank, and it's just there. This is maybe like some of y'all may be breaking out in sweats. You're like, no, I need to spend it before it's gone, or I need to do something, or some people are like, no, this has to be put in this exact. No, you need to have it and just let it sit there. You need to practice being able to just have something. Okay. Number one, that was money just sitting there. Number two, rest. Okay. Y'all, I still, I still have got to get over my own judgments because when I teach you guys about rest, what's in the little voice in the back of my head is these people that are like, "Oh, Jessica just tells you to rest. You can't be successful if you rest." Da, 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 da. Let me. I am an 8-star diamond. I am the number 2 person in leadership development in my entire company. I have been a 7-figure earner for over 7 years. Okay, so I know something about what I am doing is working. And so if you're not there yet, how about we back off on the judgments and maybe try something new? Maybe it isn't about the hustle, 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 which is lead you to burnout, which is lead you to resentment, which is lead you to apathy, which is really leading you to hating your job, losing that joy, losing that love for what you actually do, and just bleh. So, number 2 is rest will increase your capacity to receive because rest equals trust. Am I saying sit on your butt and don't do nothing? Absolutely not. But I am saying there is something biblical to the Sabbath where it is an element of focusing your attention back on the Lord, who is the giver of all good things, and how can he bless you? How can he give you gifts? How can you even receive something if you're the one that's only working all of the time? Then it's going to be like, look what I did. I did this. I worked hard for this. And the Lord, where's the Lord get credit in any of that? And why would the Lord multiply that when it's just this prideful, I did it all by myself? Okay. So when you rest, it is this element of trust. Yeah, you could be doing work on a rest day. Yeah, you could be doing more. But what is that could be doing more getting you when one day of rest can be multiplied to give you 10 times more than you could do in a day in your own efforts? So, rest is what I'm going to challenge you with. Number 3 is identity. You've got to go back to your identity. When you notice that you're not working, or you're not working out, or you're not eating healthy, or you're not living into the vision that you had for your life, you have to pause and figure out what is the what is the lie I am believing about my identity? Because again, God did not call us to sit on the couch and do nothing all day and not to serve people or not to contribute. We are called to contribute and create. Okay? And the lie of this world is the only way that you can do that is through a 9 to 5 job and with only 2 weeks vacation until you die. That is the lie of the world. Okay, the Lord is a Lord of creativity, of multiplication, of downloads. He can provide through any avenue. But are we resting and listening to Him? Are we taking those? Your silent walk is a piece of the resting. Okay, it's ceasing from striving. It's ceasing from input, from learning, from doing, from working, and it's just being with the Lord. I understand that you may have 7 children, okay? And so your being with the Lord may be 5 minutes a day. But I know that the Lord can multiply what you set before Him. And so, you people over there are also waiting until you have an hour long to do your devotional every day. You're either all in with the hour long devotional or you notice you're not doing it at all. What can you do to be consistent? When I look back at the parables of like the lost sheep, the lost coin, the prodigal son, God will do whatever it takes to go and find that one. Okay, so if you're still over there like, no, I'm not good enough. I have to be perfect for the Lord to love me. I have to always do the right thing. Like if I mess up, then I've lost his love. Go reread those parables. Okay, because those people did not lose his love. Okay, he goes to extravaganceness to bring them back because that is sonship, that is daughtership, that is what you're under. And when you understand how much you are loved, how important your life is in this world, how God wants to bring the kingdom of heaven to earth through you, very specifically, in ways that I cannot, in ways that nobody else can. The giftings that you have, the way that God wired and made you for very specific purposes, for very specific people, for very specific reasons. Okay? I'm so excited for you in this. That comes when you understand your identity. Surely in goodness and mercy follow you all the days of my life. I'm going to leave you with this. Two of my favorite abundance thoughts that have increased my ability to receive in my business are God sends people in my sleep and leaders are all around me. I believe that God sends people in my sleep, and I'm actually on my walks been envisioning that, been envisioning my future, been envisioning 1,000 people on my team making $100,000 or more, like on my team and clients that I'm coaching that aren't on my team. Like I'm envisioning that. I'm not worrying about the how. Like I'm envisioning that future, what that feels like, what that looks like, and I believe that God will send people in my sleep because He has, because He just did today. I literally got a Facebook Messenger from someone that I barely know, and she was like, "The Lord just, I keep seeing your Facebook posts, and I hadn't seen them before, but I just keep seeing them." And I was like, "No way." The Lord literally reminded me of you last night. And I was telling her about how we had met and the interaction, and we'd met at Graybeard AML. We had met the Forge. Like our kids do MMA together. But my kids they have not been going to jujitsu since basketball season. So we stopped. We're just a one sport family. Highly recommend. This is how I keep my peace. But basketball's over, so they're going back to jiu-jitsu. Anyways, I'll spare you all those details. But it was the Lord's anointing. He, the Lord put me on her heart, and the Lord put her on my heart, and she reached out, and then she's like incredibly interested in Plexus, the products, the business, all the things. I've been sending her some videos, asking her some questions. She's like all in. It's super fun. But I was like, I don't get credit for that. And that's so fun, actually, that I don't, because God did send her in my sleep. God supernaturally connected that because I believe that, because I believe that goodness and mercy follow me all the days of my life. I believe that what I do matters. I believe that what I do is important, that it helps people. And I believe, and I pray this over me and for my team, that we can be the answer to someone else's prayer for their physical health or finances, or as the Lord works in these crazy, mysterious ways, doing something scary, getting out of a comfort zone, a connection or a community. All of these things are provided through our Plexus team. And I'm just like, Lord, thank you. Like, thank you. And then, so God sends people in my sleep. And then the second one was, leaders are all around me. When you start practicing that, when you start believing that, because some people are like, well, I don't know who will join my team, or I don't know who the next leader will be, or I don't even know any leaders, or I don't know many great people. I'm like, yeah, because you keep living into that story. Keep telling yourself that, and you ain't going to have any. Okay. Because as you lead yourself first, and others will follow. Okay. But leaders are all around me. And when I think that, when I believe that, when I envision that, you know what I see all the time? Leaders, potential in people, new connections with leaders, people who with strong work ethic and a strong Christians and a strong heart for service and who are fun. Okay. And they're all around me. They're all around me. I believe they are. And because I believe they are and I envision that they are. Try it out. God sends people in my sleep, and leaders are all around me. So God bless you this week as you increase your capacity to receive. It doesn't necessarily come overnight, but it is a relationship with the Lord, that knows His mercies are new every morning, who knows that perfection is a horrible standard because it's literally impossible. Let consistency become your new best friend, your new favorite word. Consistency is consistency is my new favorite word. That does not mean I'm perfect. That does not mean that I cook my family meals every night or that I exercise every day, but it does mean I'm fairly consistent in those things because I remind myself of my identity and who I want to be. And I want to be someone who cooks dinner for my family, who exercises, who reads books and is growing. Um, I want to be that. And so I understand that I'm a flawed human and am nothing without the Lord. And I understand that shame and condemnation are from the enemy, are such a low vibration, and they will keep you stuck. Okay. But love, peace, and joy, clinging to that identity, because that's what the Lord speaks over you and speaks and is what is possible for you. That when you live out that, you're the only person that will ever cap what you were able to receive. Goodness and mercy will follow you all the days of your life. God bless you. See you next week.